This game is really good though, to be honest. Like,
All of my youngest, some savages running your trap, at you up with them packages. Rob you for bricks, finesse you for pounds. Fuck all that talking, they laying you down.
what's up, guys? It's DEWRKYO. You already know. Let's get into the show. Let's go. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I had to switch up that intro. But today I'm playing a horror game, and I haven't done one of these in a while, and I'm really excited to actually do this. Just because I haven't done one in a while. It's fun. I get really scared. I jump easily. I flinch easily for people who know me. I flinch very easy. But yeah, it's called Elsewhere High, Chapter 1. It's supposed to be a decision-making game. You're supposed to be able to make decisions. It's not really where I'm gonna go out and wander places or anything like that. You just get to make decisions. So yeah, I guess I'm gonna just go through this with you guys, and depending on how long it takes, I might make it multiple videos. So yeah, so we're into it. Yeah, let's go, guys. I'm ready. Best enjoyed with headphones. I have those, so yeah. Yo, that's some weird noises, and I don't want to hear that in my ear right now. Turn this down a little. It's kind of loud. It wasn't very unusual for Derek to be walking on the muddy shoulder of a barren county road. While he lived in a modestly sized city now, Derek grew up in a small town surrounded by roads just like this one. He would often walk them in the mornings to catch his bus to school. What is that noise? That seemed like ages ago, though. Now that he resided in the city, he usually chose to walk to school, except of course for the days when the cold was overbearing or the heat too exhausting. And yet he felt no comfort in this age familiarity. That's Derek. Okay. Where's the stop? He lifted his head. His neck was tense. He was told there would be a sign. A blue sign or something, right? His frame was not of much substance, but still his feet pressed against the softening ground. It built mountains of displaced mud against the edges of his shoes. I don't really like these noises. It's really annoying. As he lifted them, the bulbous mounds would rise as if they wanted to follow him. The earth kept them close, though. These ripples of mud, and instead sent a force of stringy soldiers to cling to the soles of his sneakers. There was a thick layer of them by now. Maybe I missed it. He spoke aloud to himself. He did this often. He sheathed his uncertainty and kept forward. His body ached. Derek took a moment to check behind him. He was somewhat worried that the sound of the rain would drown out any cars. There hadn't been one yet, but he kept to the gravel edges anyway. There's no such thing as too careful. Guess I'll go a bit more. Ugh, this is bullshit. Okay, that's a curse word. His statement was more of a meditative cry than a pitiful complaint. Pity was something that Derek didn't have for himself or his situation. Confusion, anger, frustration, even a pinch of denial, yes, but Derek did not feel sorry for himself. Hey, my G! As he took a few more sunken steps, his mind was understandably drawn back to the conversation that had led him there. Oh, See, I told you I scare easy. It was somewhat ordinary for him to get a call to the principal's office. He remembered he was sitting in his grade 12 anthropology class he had taken to gain a free credit from, but was rather surprised to find a sort of interest in when the PA system came to life with a familiar muffled alert. Yes? His teacher had cried out. She was the type to become easily annoyed, but found herself derailed from her train of thought by the brash interruption. I like this music. It's really scary and I like it. Can we see Derek Summersfeld at the office, please? The voice was hard to understand, but his teacher eyed him quickly. Yep, sure thing. She wasted no time giving Derek a physical gesture of excuse and jumping immediately back into her lesson. Derek didn't remember being nervous. One of his friends had talked him into joining their small student council, and while it was infrequent, he would sometimes be called to the office to confirm various details of upcoming events. But this time, there was a much more urgent topic of conversation. Why does it keep doing that? Jesus! As the umpteenth telephone pole disrobed itself from the darkness in front of Derek, he was quickly led away from his daydream. It was too far away to make out the details, but he knew that he was nearing the landmark. Just keep walking until you find a blue sign. He could see it in the distance, fastened rather high above the ground on the wooden pole, a blue sign. His pace didn't quicken. I think that got me a little. Do you know why I've asked to see you today? His principal asked with a voice laden with a distinct disappointment. The principal liked Derek. He had never been in trouble, and it was expected that students that were a part of the elected council were given somewhat of a special treatment. It was then that Derek remembered feeling the first tinge of nervousness. It was the sound of the principal's voice. With a weighted sigh, the principal opened an envelope on his desk and took out a handful of papers. On them were scribbled notes that Derek couldn't quite make out, through the deep wrinkles and folds. Soon after being closed to gather himself, the principal's eyes made their way to Derek. They sat on him. He waited. Then a raised finger. He carried it limply and waved it around the notes. Do these for any reason look familiar to you? Derek shuffled in his seat. I can't read them. Derek remembered saying the words through a taut throat. Have a look. The principal opened his hands and lightly pushed the papers towards him. By the way, I want to say, now that I'm playing in it, it said it was a decision-making game, but I'm not really getting any decisions. With more than a little apprehension, Derek reached for them and began to read. Why? Little bitch. Okay. Skankiest girl in the school? Tell anyone I'll kill you? Mom's probably a whore? Oh my god. Your new name is Slut. That's your new name. Who made this? He didn't read any one note from start to finish. They were vile in their language, threatening, brute. They made Derek sick to his stomach. He pushed the papers back towards the principal, and for the first time in years, he remembered feeling his eyes begin to glow. Oh my god! Derek stopped. Against the swarm of browns and grays, the deep blue that covered the sign reclaimed his attention. Just keep walking until you find a blue sign. Once you find it, wait, it will come soon enough. He stood beneath the sign, his hands gripping the straps of his backpack. It was all he carried. I guess this is it. He sighed. Not only was it raining, but it was sticky and warm, and recalling the events that brought him there did little to calm his growing palpitations. His brows were drowned and heavy in gathered sweat. He didn't seem to mind. There was nothing left to do other than wait, so Derek leaned his body against the telephone pole and did just that. Man, I really hate this. Do Do you know what these are? Derek remained silent for a moment, took a deep breath, and then exhaled with purpose as if he were about to reply. But he couldn't. Derek? The principal's voice remained assertive, but was softened by a hint of worry. Derek's body felt like stone. His mind was lifted elsewhere. He couldn't think or elsewhere. Hey, he couldn't think or move. In this moment of confusion and discomfort, he felt as if he had surrendered his will. It was taken from him and handed over to someone else. His voice returned and broke. His head hung low. Yes. That was all he said. Still standing against the rotted pole, he could not explain why he had said it. Yes? The principal waited for Derek to continue. He did not. Derek, these notes were handed to me by a student named Priscilla Aberdeen. Do you know her? After taking a moment, Derek nodded. Yes, well, she handed me these notes in private, in secret, after trying to find a way to let someone know. She was terrified, Derek, absolutely distraught. She was crying, sobbing, asking for help. He took a break to rein in his escalating voice, then continued. Do you know anything about these notes? Derek's body was not his own. He felt a force nod his head on his behalf. That's creepy. That's creepy. The principal gathered himself. Derek, what do you know about these notes? Something lifted his tongue. Something put breath in his lungs. Something formed the words. I wrote them. Oh, crap. Ha! This is crazy, man. He could feel his shoulder pancake between the weight of his body and the pole it added to the ache. With a foggy mind and an anchored heart, Derek waited. His face contorted in an instinctual response to the memory. Priscilla. Her name popped from his mouth and crackled like hot grease. What an odd way to describe something. Like, what? Priscilla. She was hardly even relevant to Derek throughout his high school life. He didn't dislike her, he just didn't know her. They had shared a class the year before when they were both juniors, but they sat on opposite sides of the rooms and had no friends in common. Their school was large enough for two students to never find themselves in the same place at the same time with the same people. She seemed like a nice girl, this Priscilla Aberdeen. Derek remembered hearing her laugh from time to time and thinking about how wonderfully infectious it was. She was an otherwise quiet girl, so it was refreshing to hear such a genuine expression. She engaged in classroom discussion and was rather intelligent. Her marks were probably better than Derek's, although he didn't even really push himself. There was certainly nothing wrong with her. And even if there was, Derek wouldn't have done something like that. Of course not. There were people who he disliked in his school. They were rude or disagreeable. Sorry, there's a fly in my room and this got really annoying. Or just unlike Derek in too many ways. But he never mistreated them. He didn't want to spend that extra mental energy cooking up ways to hurt someone. It seemed superfluous. It was still a mystery, even to himself then, why he had done this to Priscilla. Why have I done this to Priscilla? But when he did carve out enough courage to jump back into the cavern of his memory, he always re-emerged with nothing but a mind soaked in a solemn fog. Everything was hazy. See, they took a long time that time, and then it just got me. Everything had been hazy. After his confession, he remembered nothing until the principal's door swung open and he heard footsteps behind him. Okay. How long have I been sitting here? A body sat down next to him. He barely raised his head, just dragged his eyes to the right to see who it was. Mom? It hovered somewhere between a question and a statement. She looked at him with something that Derek would have sworn was indifference, then surrendered her gaze to the principal. Derek assumed he began explaining the situation, but his senses shut down. His body was hardened by guilt and shame. Time passed haphazardly. A few moments in an hour. Who knew? It was only when his mother laid a limp hand onto his forearm that he tuned back in. While he was sure that the gesture was meant to be one of comfort, he felt nothing but stinging apathy. Her hand sat there weightless, and from it flowed no measurable compassion. She held a pamphlet in her other hand. His principal spoke up with a low, heavy voice. I would recommend this as your next course of action. In terms of other options, there are a few. You could, of course, try... What is it? The two adults almost jumped at the sound of Derek's voice. His mother had almost forgotten that he was there. The principal spoke first. I'm sorry? That brochure, or whatever, what are you guys talking about? The principal let out a deep sigh. It's an alternative schooling option for students who have been... Been what? The principal and his mother exchanged a worried, frustrated glance. This time, his mother spoke first, but for some reason she whispered, Have you even been listening? She had always feared being intrusive, even in situations like this, but now her sharp breath hit Derek's ear with a shrill impatience. The principal fidgeted with his pen, then danced his gaze around both Derek and his mother. Derek, you have been expelled. Whoa! Whoa! So I think that's where we're gonna end the video, guys. That's intense. He got expelled, and he doesn't even know what's happening right now. Like, Derek is not in this mindset at all. He just said something made him move. You know how ridiculous that is? That's crazy. It scared me a bit. I'm not gonna lie. It got me a lot of times. But I thought it was gonna be a decision-making game. It said it was going to be. But I'm actually really into the story, and it's really good. I just hope you guys like it. But I have to cut the video short there. I guess this is episode 1. If you guys want to see more, please give this video a thumbs up, like it up, share it so other people can see it, and subscribe if you already haven't. I want to say thank you guys for watching. I love you. Peace!